Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a while since we've really listened to or talked about Ultrakill, but today we're going to be checking out some of the Fraud OST. Today we're going to be checking out Spiral Out, Keep Going. I believe I've listened to this once before. In Absentia, No Devil Lived On, and Event Horizon. I'll be stopping and starting as I go, but not too much per each track just because there's a lot to get through. Let's dive in and do some listening and some analysis. So even in that first like 15 seconds or 30 seconds actually, what's kind of interesting is that ba-da, 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 ba-da. It's just a big loop, right? And the track is called Spiral Out. And because of the dissonance within that, there's this sense of like losing control. Oh, what's happening to me, body? It's almost like there's an antagonism and there's this push and pull that occurs where we are not ourselves anymore and we are slipping through and losing control. Now, it's a quite loud piece. It's very boisterous, of course, but that makes sense given what Ultrakill is. So it's not necessarily something I'm going to put on in my car, but that decay feeling really feels like we're like losing ourselves to whatever's in front of us. Super subtle and also dissonant, but there's a thing that's happening in the background which is really cool where it goes bam bam ba di da da bam bam ba di da da bam bam ba di da da bam bam bi da di da bam bam bi da di da dum, and that sound is actually buoying this whole thing, the loud parts, the heavier electric guitar parts. And what's happening in that moment is we're getting this desire for hope and this desire for peace, but it's slipping through our fingers. No, you don't understand. There's like this almost like this like pleading for things to be different and knowing that you can't change the circumstances. So in that back section that we just listened to, there were like two different sections in between it. And each of those actually feels to me, and the imagery I see when I hear this, is being sucked into, like almost like you're falling face first into a like a tube, and it's just like sucking your body and causing you to be stretched, and it's like as you're reaching out and grabbing. And it's interesting because there's so much latent tension throughout the track and also momentum, and I can hear the momentum, and I'm like picturing V2 kind of running around and jumping and all this other stuff, right? but it's just the momentum is such where it feels like you're in a tornado and you can't pull yourself out of the circumstances. And so there's this push and pull, ba-da, ba-dee-da-da, ba-da, ba-dee-da-da. There's this push and pull where you want to be free. And so you pry off your hand and then only for it to push you back into it. And so you're naturally getting stuck. And it's interesting because in my mind, from what I understand of Ultrakill, having played it, not this layer, having played it and having gone through, a lot of the soundtrack, we really don't get that sound very often, but this actually feels like our back is against the wall, and we don't have control, and that's interesting because it's really kind of unexpected for what we know of Ultrakill. See, there's that descent into madness again. Oh, that's interesting. There's actually a unison there that's happening. Ba-dee-da-dee-da-da, ba-dee-da-bee-da-dee-da. So that actually feels like this moment of rallying. And also, I was listening to it. There's so much like there's so much happening in this. It would be impossible to sit down, but like and really, really, really dissect so many of it. But like. The way that the piano also is underneath and it symbolizes like, I think that the piano, because it's in the upper register, that kind of feels like it symbolizes hope. But it's being pressed down by all of it's almost like this is soil, all the very loud noise and it's very cacophonous. It's very big. And then underneath is the water. And as we're going into that water, we have to get through the layer of bedrock. And that's the density of the electric guitar and so on and so forth. So it's pretty cool. It feels like we are being buried alive, essentially. You hear the piano? Yeah, and so, I mean, obviously it's a piece with massive amounts of tension. Definitely something that you would want to play a date on your first date. In Absentia, let's check this out. Maybe this will be slower? Question mark? It's cool how the bass comes in later. So there's doubling there with the harpsichord and that violin sound. It's interesting too, because to me this is a place of learning. It looks like there's Greek symbols in this title and or Latin. I think Greek, and so I imagine a place of it feels very almost conspiratorial, like you're entering into place and you're like looking around, and you're like, okay, gotta move. And there's just this rows and rows and rows of books, and it's a place of learning. It's an institution of trying to understand, like almost like the knowledge center, and you really don't belong there. And it's like, well, why is this here? This is bizarre. Huh. Okay. And so there's questioning, there's a pondering in that. Bum, ba-da-dum, boom, bum, ba-da-dum, right? You see, then we get this like string thing. Ba, boom, ba, ba. And lots of doubling, of course. It's kind of, it's building to a revelation. It's interesting how that violin feels totally random. Like, it doesn't feel like it's centered on anything. Dum dum dim da dum da dum dum dum. That's tension and danger. See, like, it's like the violin is doing its own thing. It's like somewhere else. Oh. You know what it feels like? It feels like, okay, fine, you want to learn about this, you want to discover this, you want to see what this is, I'll show you. I'll show you what this is. And the reality is way worse than you had anticipated. And so there's it musically, in practicality, it's not all that complicated. Like in terms of, obviously there's layers and it's complicated to create music, of course. But what I mean to say is, like, we're kind of getting something that's fairly simple. But the subtext of that music is actually, and what it accompanies and what it boosts up to my ear. Again, it doesn't really matter for right or wrong. It's just about how we feel the music. Now, obviously there's a context. But removing ourselves from that, there's this quality in it of, like, you want to see what the truth is? Watch this. I'll unveil the truth. Now look. And it's like this, like, I don't know, whatever, the bloody city with like a skyscraper. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like there's a possibility there of, like, I'm going to give you the seed of knowledge. You will never be the same. And you will suffer because of this. It's a great burden to know the knowledge and to know the information. because there's dissonance right there. Down, 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 shut down, 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 down. Lots of unison movement with this crunch press underneath there. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. It's interesting how it pulls back. It's almost like you're left laying there being like, what? You've just seen something and all of a sudden everything is different. All right. Let's go over to Event Horizon, Reach for the Sun, and Burn, Burn, Burn? Burn, Burn. This random dissonance. I love the double bass drums in that. So again, it's interesting because this is another instance of a track in this layer where for once we're actually, I don't know. I really feel strongly that like I feel backed up against the wall when I listen to this. I feel like I'm out of options. And this feels like we're coming face to face with this like religious figure, especially because we get the organ kind of sound quality in it, but obviously the organ plays a big part in it as well. Where it feels like it really truly feels like we're running out of options, and I have to fight tooth and nail to navigate. I think the double bass drum too is like, no, I'm not gonna give up. I'm not gonna surrender. I'm not gonna let you get in the way. Right? So we push and push and push and push and push. However, is that pushing enough to actually win and be successful? And there's a little kernel, and I'm not saying that V2 has this per se. Is it V1? V2? V1? I can't remember. There's a little bit of a kernel of doubt. Even in the robot, there's this little bit of like, what if I can't do this? Or the inverse is that this is actually a boss theme as it relates to the the boss. And so this music is actually that character's psychology, where it's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen. And you know, it's interesting because within this music, there's a moment where there's a single voice in the sandwich of the stuff underneath and above, and that single voice is like a guitar, and that's saying like, no, I can't give up, I'm not going to. And so even though we're being hit from both ends, the center, the core purpose and focus is still in that sound. Right there, you hear, that was the one, da 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 da, right there. I actually love this. I love this little. It so badly wants to be like a basic melody. It so badly wants to be something that's sung and expressed. It almost feels like something you would hear, I guess maybe in a church, but certainly in it's actually kind of a love song in the way that it sounds. Right? It's actually quite beautiful. You hear how that and there's a bit of that electric guitar in there. It's very improv kind of, where it feels like it's saying like, no. I'm not going to fall for this. I'm not going to give in to this. I don't know. It's beautiful, actually. It's definitely my favorite so far. Nice slowdown. Oh, that's sick. Listen to this mode. Listen how muted it becomes. It's almost like a dirge of death, a walking towards the precipice. And also throughout that, there's a lot of subdivision, you know, where we are. But then there's also this moment here where I just stopped, where it actually is a little bit more centered. And again, that to me is winding down, but you're not out yet, right? Oh, man, it's so interesting though, because it's just so different from what I anticipated. It's also not very melody heavy, which, take it or leave it. I mean, I love melody, and this one, I think this is my favorite I've listened to so far because it was the most melodic. But it's interesting how the melody is actually not the main star of the show. The main star of the show is the rhythmic momentum because of the nonstop need and requirement of movement. It's very beautiful, actually. Let's go over to No Devil Lived On. You see how it's off kilter? It's off kilter. It wants to throw you off. What the hell? Why the carousel music? Boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, ba. Dum, dum. It's a waltz. Wow. You know, to me, it feels like it's a waltz with madness. It feels like it's a waltz within our own minds where we're grabbing our get out. It's like we're being controlled or possessed or gathered into. And we're not able to, reconcile any of this because we're being consumed from the inside. It's almost like a conflict within the self as we try to release and become free again. It's almost like our powers being stripped away. We're being, and there's this conflict of trying to reconnect ourselves and put ourselves back together. There's a stripping away, a ripping apart of the ideals that we once believed in. I think fraud, actually, I don't know, but I do think that fraud in a way is one sort of revelation after another where we are no longer able to make sense of the clear vision that we had in place in the other layers. And it just feels like everything's twisted, everything's kind of flipped. Everything's kind of contorted in a way where even though there is some degree of confidence, like there is some confidence in this, but also the carousel music is funny because the carousel music is kind of psychotic. It has this, it's still heavy, it's still movement based, but it has this like, you know what I mean? Like the energy in it is different than certainly the previous tracks. I love this. Da 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 da. Ah. Ba da 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 da. We shift the key there, I think. Nice unison. Isn't that fun? Isn't that a fun thing? Boom ba da da be da da be da boom 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 ba da da dee da da boom 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 ba da dee da dee da. I think the hits then followed by the melody. I mean, this is something you hear everywhere, and it's so functional. It's so much fun to get a big fat chord. Boom ba da dee da dee ba dum ba dum boom bam beam bam boom ba da dee dee da dum bam boom bam 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 boom. That drive is intoxicating. Super rhythmic again. We pull away from the melody. And then we get into the psychosis again. Back into the waltz. Okay, we pull back. Is it a different... Are we changing tracks? Yeah, oh no. Bruised, battered, blood dripping down the side of the lip, eye all fucked up. What did you say? What do you think you know about this place? What do you think is the reality? Look around you. This? Oh, this is just a tiny part of the show. You're in my world now. You know, some sort of monologuing. Actually, it's cool because it pulls all the way back. Right? Like it's like right? And then that's sick. I appreciate how industrial this is too. Indeed. Down. I love that noise. Interestingly enough, this little corner where I stopped just now, the way the harmony's working with the electric guitars and then the chuck 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 at the bottom actually feels like I'm dancing with myself. Now, of course, I'm looking at this image, so I'm trying to not let it infer too much of what my thoughts are. But that being said, there is this kind of like almost like it's like I'm possessed and I'm marching along with myself. There's, you know, the boom, taka-tam, boom, taka-tam, doom, dum, dum, doom. It's almost like there's a mirror version of myself. And I'm in direct synchronicity with it, you know? Snapping out of it, right? Pulling off. I love how random that feels too. Yeah. Huh? And they were still broken at the end. That's interesting. Oh, I listened to these 3 themes out of order. Wait. Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't listen to theme 1. And I didn't listen. All right, wait. Ah, shoot. All right. Let's go to Never Odd or Even. This is theme 1. You know, throughout this, even though there's a bit of dissonance and tension, that is actually a moment of kind of beauty in the starkness. You know, you feel there's a slight glimmer of almost like what happens when you tap into your humanity. Like what happens when you plug in and all of a sudden you see yourself, like, you know, when the mirror is there. This is Never Odd or Even. And you get the sense of like connection. It's almost like what if the robot accidentally becomes aware and gains a consciousness? Like, what does it look like when you are no longer just a killing thing? And you actually tap into, you know, maybe it's humanity, maybe it's not, but it's like there's this glimmer of like, wait, what? Was that me? You know what I mean? Like just a little bit of a thought. This whole thing is kind of like some sort of like a hymn or a prayer. Listen, go back. I love that pull back. It's almost like there's a snap and a switch as we move into the second song, which I've already heard. And it's interesting because then we go this sort of awakening. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Let's go to so this would be theme 3 at the end of this theme, which I've already heard. Let me. This is death, really crashing down into itself. And then, boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum, boom, bum, bum. Surprised by this. Oh, slow down. Okay. The slowdown is interesting. Oh, it actually speeds up. Okay. Yeah, so this is like ripping out all the tethers and you're free. This is the last gasp, you know. This is looking at the thing. It's on the ground like, what? No, not today. You know, this is the last dying gasp of energy, of, you know, pushing through, hoping to destroy, hoping to lean into idealism of the self, right? Like hoping to I don't know, challenge the status quo or something, if that makes sense. Because it just increases in tempo, gets really heavy and crunchy, dark. Bow, heavy, down. It's all a waltz. It's so loud. I like how in the back it sounds like a revving engine, but really just does feel desperate, doesn't it? Because again, it's the same idea of the bedrock where the top is actually rum dum 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 da rum dum 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 dum, and then it's like no. You know. That's cool. You got a glimmer of the song in the bottom in the electric guitar. And the clock runs out. Oh, so we end up getting essentially like, you know, time is running out. The clock ticking is such a genius approach to musical writing there, because sound design in a way as well, because it feels like, oh shit, like this is it. Like where else do we turn? And we run out of options and we run out of opportunity. And you hear that pressed, this is it. And now what, you know? And I would say that musically, this is probably the most introspective that I've heard Hakita, Heaven Piercer, Hakita, the music of Ultrakill be. It feels very much, like I mentioned a few times, this revelatory sort of, there's a curiosity within it of like, what's going on here? What am I missing? It becomes less like go from point A to point B, and a little bit more of the nuance of like, well, what is this? Why? You know, and why is such an important big question that everyone comes to in their own way, and it's powerful. Definitely play this for your mother. She'll love it. Like, yeah, there's just a real intensity in it throughout it. And sorry I listened to theme 2 out of order from theme 1 and theme 3, but I did get the gist of it. And yeah, this was actually Pretty cool. That's Fraud. If you want me to play it like I have the previous layers, definitely let me know. Although I have heard it's going to make me pretty nauseous, but I would do that for you. Thanks a ton, everybody. Check out the other Ultrakill videos and other videos on the channel, and I'll see you later. Bye.